It is now time for the Fighter Fest podcast. My name is Jay Leto, and as always, I'm live on Periscope and live right here on YouTube. And just wanted to come on real quick and talk to you guys a little bit about All Elite Wrestling's Fighter Fest. Just got finished watching the show. Fun, I would say. I didn't like the undercard. I did not like the pre-show. The pre-show kind of sucked. Pre-show was pretty trash, but other than that, I mean, the effort was there. You know, we got to see some pretty incredible in-ring action and some controversy as well. Lots of people are talking about Jim Ross, maybe saying something controversial or not even calling the matches right, the matches properly. A lot of people are mad about his commentary. John Moxley, some crazy stuff at the end, and also that chair shot to the head of Cody Rhodes. Lots of stuff went down. So here to talk about it with you guys. If you have any questions, please leave them below. Let's have an open discussion about Fighter Fest. Now, I went to the show with limited expectations because I didn't know what to expect. I just didn't know. I had no idea what to expect. And I wasn't let down. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was a fun night, good wrestling action. But there are certain times when there's a lot of hype around a promotion and they're really early on. Like, for instance, you only get one chance to make a first impression. And I think they did a really good job of that tonight. But I would have liked to see a little bit more storytelling. Like, here's the problem, man. I understand that they're trying to set up a match for Cody Rhodes, not for Fight for the Fallen, but for it All Out. And it looks like that's going to be the former Ty Dillinger, a.k.a. Sean Spears, who we know him as now. His real name is shoot name. And how they kicked it off was basically just an unprotected chair shot to the head out of nowhere. Major shock value. Nobody really saw that coming. Unprotected chair shot is super rare nowadays in professional wrestling. You don't see that too often. Especially in what's known as a major promotion like All Elite Wrestling. So that to me came off a little bit weird. I don't see the purpose of it. I think you would have had the same effect if there was a protected chair shot, but I guess probably not. I mean, that shows you how much I know. I mean, obviously, if it was a protected chair shot, we would not be talking about it. You know what I mean? So I'm going to kill this light. It's too bright, man. Too bright. All right. Tone it down a little bit. I think if it was if we didn't see an unprotected chair shot, it wouldn't have been made as big of a deal as it is now. So here's the thing. He bladed himself for accident. I didn't really dive into it that deep, bro. I didn't even look for it, man. I was just like, damn, dude, did he just get knocked out? But the way he turned into the chair shot leads me to believe that they knew what they were doing. They knew the part of the head to hit to make it less likely, and probably the part of the head to hit where you're going to get some blood. I mean, it was just, to me, unnecessary. But again, if your whole thesis going into doing that spot is the odds of it, you know, what are the chances? 12 stitches. Yeah, I did hear that. What's up, Aaron? Aaron's in the house. What's up, Ed? 12 stitches is a lot. Okay, for sure. No doubt about it. But the risk versus the reward now. You know, you're not always going to get a concussion when you take a chair shot. In the WWE and WCW, ECW back in the day, TNA, chair shots to the head unprotected were commonplace. Yo, what's up, bro? A lot of people would put their hand up, would protect themselves. But man, 9 times out of 10, especially in the late 90s, they were not protecting anything. So I did see that as probably risk versus reward. If it was protected, if he put his hands up, Cody Rhodes put up his hands, nobody would be talking about it. I wouldn't be talking about it to kick off this show. You know what I mean? But I am. It was probably the most newsworthy thing of the night. And looks like that's going to be the direction All Elite Wrestling is going with for All Out. Cody versus Sean Spears. I'm down with that. I'm cool with that. And we'll just have to see how they build it up in the weeks and months to come. The other major sticking point tonight that I noticed on social media was a lot of people are mad at Jim Ross. Now, look, guys, Jim Ross is not in his prime, okay? And I explained this last time. What's up, Hansy? I explained this the last All Elite show I did here. He's not in his prime whatsoever. Darby is normally a good performer. I mean, that Darby performance, it looked like they didn't want to make him look too strong against Cody Rhodes. That's what I thought. But we'll get to the match in a minute. The Jim Ross story is, apparently, you know, here's the thing. We know he's lost some of his play calling abilities out there, play calling. When I'm talking like I'm talking to an NFL coach. No, his way to call matches. Like he's lost some of that. His style has changed. It's diminished. I think that goes without saying. The thing is, when you have Jim Ross out there, you're taking a major risk. And the risk is, will you get that once-in-a-lifetime call? Yeah, he should just be color. You're right, Aaron, for sure. It should be more of a color commentary. But he also has to steer the ship a little bit because he has the most experience. He's done it the most times. Bringing people in and out of the show with a recognizable voice is smart, and the possibility of that big call that you're going to play over and over and over again. It's going to be a meme. It's going to be something that people latch onto. Tug at the heartstrings, so to speak. That's what they're looking for here, I think, with Jim Ross. Your nostalgia and the greatest, without question, wrestling announcer of all time. I would like to see, if you want to bring some nostalgia, maybe try to dig up Joey Styles, bro. I like Joey Styles. Bring him back. He does. Jim Ross knows how to. He knows how to capture those moments. And tonight maybe it wasn't so good. The commentary isn't gelling yet. You need repetitions in the commentary booth to get good at it. That's just my assumption. I'm not a commentator, so I don't really know, but that's what I would think. You need to do it over and over and over again. Work with the same guys over and over and over. We got a question. Hey, do you think that Fyter Fest will still be available for free on BR Live if you missed it? I would check with BR Live. I don't know, man. Hopefully they would have it on demand. I think that would make the most sense. Yeah, Dan Hart in YouTube says that remember of mid-90s. Yeah, I mean that's a reminder of your childhood, your youth. Listen, I'm gonna be totally transparent here. I fell asleep when Christopher Daniels and Chima started. I fell asleep. Okay. And part of the reason I fell asleep was because Jim Ross's voice. It puts me to sleep, man. That voice has put me to sleep countless times throughout my entire life. It's like listening to a lullaby. Jim Ross's voice. It really is to me. But I caught most of the match. I went back. I watched. I caught most of it. But I think he called. I think the controversial thing is he said the word Oriental, and that's controversial to Asian people. And I never knew it was. I had no idea. I'm just deaf when it comes to that kind of stuff sometimes. I don't know what's offensive, what's not. So if he said Oriental, I wouldn't have thought anything of it personally. So I didn't understand why people were so mad at him. Now I get it. If it's offensive, it's offensive. It's one of those things, man. And but cut Jim Ross some slack. Jim Ross is like your grandpa, man. Jim Ross, you got to think of Jim Ross as your grandpa who's still trying to call wrestling at the top of the game. So, match of the night to me was the Luchadors against the Elite. Oriental Rug, but not Oriental Person. Got it. The Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid versus the Elite of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks was the match of the night in my eyes. I really did. I just loved it because, I could watch those Young Bucks Spot Fest matches over and over and over again, just because I've been watching them for so many years. And they always end up doing something different, something unique, something you've never seen before. Close second to that, in my opinion, just because I really love seeing Joey Janela in a main event, was Jon Moxley and Joey Janela. But going back to the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, they got the big win over the Luchadors, Lucha Brothers, and the Laredo Kid. And guys, this is the way it's going to be. People are here to see these guys win matches, win big matches. This feud with the Lucha Brothers is probably over now. This is probably the final nail in the coffin there. And hopefully we move on to some different things for the Young Bucks. But I'm sure we'll see more Pentagon and Phoenix and the Laredo Kid in All Elite Wrestling. Just an awesome match. Guys, this was not – you got to remember this too when talking about this show. The show was a really good wrestling show. But again, this is all pro wrestling. Like if you watched Ring of Honor last night, that's great pro wrestling. If you watched WWE Stomping Grounds last week, that was great pro wrestling. You watch NXT Wednesday night, great pro wrestling. It's all pro wrestling. It all falls under that blanket. We can't put it on a pedestal. We cannot put it up above everything else just because it's All Elite Wrestling in their second major show or third major show, however you want to really put it. But what we did do is we builded a story at the end of Moxley versus Janela for Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley, at All Out. And that's exciting to me. Extreme Rules isn't going to stack up to this, bro. Extreme Rules isn't going to stack up to this, unless they do something crazy. I just doubt it. There's nothing extreme about that show the way it's been booked and presented right now. And guys, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much. YouTube.com/PWP Nation. Check it out. At the end of the day, man, there were some things that happened on the pre-show that to me, terrible, absolutely awful. This Jabali versus Michael Nakazawa match was pathetic. Had no business being on a wrestling show. I get it. It's some kind of like inside baseball, like inside joke type stuff that these guys have. But that was horrible. Garbage. Just straight up garbage. Even the women's match that was triple threat, three-way, it had its kind of like moments during it, but it didn't capture my attention. I wasn't interested in it. I didn't know who these characters. I don't know who they are. Like, I don't know who Rio is. I don't know who Yuko Sasagaki is. I don't know them at all. The library stuff was really bad. Just to get the negatives out of the way. Library stuff was terrible. Not a fan of that. Best friends. I mean, you got the Super Smash Bros. They've been an indie group for a long time, many years. Major tag team. I believe they're from Canada. I'm not exactly sure anymore. I used to know a lot more about them back in the day. But they've been around forever, man. It's good to see them get a nice spot here as the Dark Order, I believe it is, the Dark Order. I might have ghosted on who they actually are, but I think they're the Dark Order. See here. What else did we have? I already talked Ali. I love seeing her. She's a great wrestler, but that match with Leva Bates just fell flat to me. Chima defeated Daniels. I watched some of that match. I fell asleep in the beginning. I was out probably for like 5-6 minutes straight. And then I caught the end. I saw all the highlights and everything. So Adam Page, of course, he's got to win heading into his match with Jericho. There's no way that he loses this match. No way. Yeah, MK. You said MK. You said MJK. MJF's promos. The guy knows how to talk. That goes without question. He's going to be a major player in the business for many years to come. In the ring, I haven't seen that much of him. I've seen him wrestle, maybe a handful of times. Like solid pro wrestler, dude. He's got the look. He's got the charisma. He's probably going to really make a name for himself in the future. So he's making a name for himself right now. Definitely somebody who everybody should keep their eye on. Cody, Darby Allin time limit draw. I had a feeling there was going to be a time limit draw, either this fight, this Fyter Fest show, or Fight for the Fallen. Lots of Fs, bro. Or All Out. There was going to be one of these since they do have a time limit. And we saw that tonight. So we got that with Cody and Darby Allin. Darby Allin looks super weak here. He got his shit in a couple times, but overall, they didn't want to make him look too strong against Cody. I think that was the point, because Cody Rhodes is going to be a main event guy here. That's his role. He's a top of the card type guy. So they don't want him to look too weak, especially in a time limit draw. And, Jon Moxley and Janela, what else can be said? I mean, they just killed each other, kicked each other's asses. Solid show. If you guys have any questions, comments, we can continue to talk about it. I don't have any real hot takes about this show. It was just kind of there. And, I had a good time seeing it. I thought it was cool. I'm going to try to catch UFC tonight too, if I can. I don't know if is it actually on ESPN, or is it on the ESPN app? I'm not sure, but I might try to catch that. But YouTube, thanks for joining this Fyter Fest podcast, Fyter Fest review. And I'm going to talk to Periscope now. So if you guys like me, check me out on Periscope, check me out on Twitter, hit that subscribe button at the bottom of the page, like the video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. And we're done on YouTube.